Okay, kia ora. I'm just going to go through and show you guys exactly what you need to do for the Garageband project. So basically you just need to create a short original piece of music, and this is going to be in Garageband. So the first part is the composition. So you're going to create a 30 to 60 second long musical track, and your project must include these tick boxes here. Okay, so let's go into GarageBand, and I'm going to go File, New. Let's create a new track, and I'm going to click on Empty Project just to get started with. Okay, so we can choose a new MIDI instrument. We could choose a drummer. We could choose just a mic if we had a mic that we want to record, or we could just choose a guitar or bass to connect. What I'm going to start off doing is I'm going to just start off with a software instrument and go create. And it will bring up this view. So I could play in something right now, but I'm not going to. I'm just getting started. So the first tick box is that we're going to have 3+ layers. So we're going to have 3 different tracks. So a good example would be drums, bass, and maybe a sampler. So let's go back to GarageBand. Okay, so we've got a keyboard here. I want to bring up my loops. So I've got my little loop button here. I'm going to click on instrument and drums, and I'm going to have a look at some drum beats that I could use. Okay, this one sounds okay, so I'm just going to use this drum track. Now the cool thing about this is that it's changed my tempo now to 85. It was 120 before, but now I want it to be a little bit slower, so we've changed the tempo to 85 now. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag this out here for four loops. I'm also going to click this part here. This is my cycle range, and I'm going to drag it so that my cycle range is going here for up to 8 bars. Now it said bass, so let's delete this, and I want to find bass. So let's go electric bass. And now that I'm thinking about bass, I might want to pick a genre. So maybe like a funk genre. Let's pick that and listen to some bass play. Now I want to listen while the beat is playing. So if I push play on the beat, then I can now I can play a bass line. Okay, I like the pocket bass, so I'm just going to drag that over. Okay, so now we've got a bass and we've got some acoustic layers. Now I'm going to click on MIDI loops, and I'm going to click on bass, and now I want to I'm going to click out of that, and I am going to pick piano. Maybe let's see what I got here. Yeah, this one sounds all right. Okay, so I'm going to drag this one on here. So let's have a listen to this. Okay, cool. That works. So I've got 3 tracks. Now, let's go back. So it needs to be 30 to 60 seconds long. Okay, so, before I go on to this, what I've done is I've added a MIDI track. The MIDI track is the green track. Okay, so we've definitely got one MIDI track here, which is green. We need at least one audio blue track. So I've definitely got at least one audio blue track. I need to show that I can do some editing, so some trimming and looping. Okay, we'll look at that a little bit later. And some quantization. Yep, so I'll look at that a little bit later as well. And then automation. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got 30 to 60 seconds that we need to make. So I can come up here and click on this little arrow. I'm going to change it to beats in time. And now this is going to give me a time of how long my song is. So if I go to the end of that 8 bars, it's only 22 seconds long. It's a little bit short. So what I'm going to do is copy everything, and then I'm going to loop everything for another 2 bars. Now this should be 45 seconds. Okay, that's cool. So to make it less boring, what I'm going to do is maybe cut out the drums. Okay, so this is my drum beat here. I'm going to cut the drums a little bit shorter. So what I can do is I'm going to drag my cursor here, and then when I go and click on here, I'm going to right click, and then there's a little thing that says here split at playhead. So if I go split at playhead, what that has done is it's trimmed or it's chopped the sample down. Okay, so I can now click each different blue part and they highlight differently. So I'm going to highlight the first one, and then I'm going to push the delete button. And now what that has done is that now I can go back to the start of the song, push play. Okay, so we've got no drums, and then the drums come in here. Okay, cool. And I can use that technique all over. So let's just say I want to have a little bit of a beat that cuts out and comes back in again. So I might experiment by clicking here. I'm going to go Command T, which is the shortcut for chop. And then I'm going to play a little bit. Actually, I'm going to drag it over here. And what I'm doing is I'm zooming in, and I'm going to chop it here and then chop it back on 8. And then I'm going to delete that little part. And it's going to sound a little bit like this. Okay, that's all right. What I can do is come back in, and it's got a little bit of a weird cutoff here. I'm going to drag that just over a little bit and see what that sounds like. Or actually, I might just do that drum hit there and see what that sounds like. That's kind of cool. Might drag this over and have a little bit longer this way. Okay, cool. So I'm just experimenting a bit with chopping and editing some of these little drum beats, okay? So I might come through and have a listen and see like, okay, that'd be kind of cool place to cut out some drums, or I might actually do the same thing with the bass. So let's have a listen to the bass. Okay, so maybe here I might cut the bass out just for a little bit, and then let it come back in here. Let's have a listen to that. Maybe the drums could start up and just cut out for a little bit for a while. Cool. Okay, so I think I've done enough chopping up there. So one thing is, let's look back at the list. So we can tick this, we can tick this, we can tick that. Okay, I've done some trimming and some looping. Now I've got some quantization. At least one of my MIDI tracks must have quantization applied to fix its timing. So this is when you would play a pattern in yourself. Okay, so what I recommend doing is starting a new software instrument. I could actually use one of these drum kits. Okay, I might use this one. To use my keyboard, I can go Command K and use my keyboard. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do this little clap in time with the drums. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go and push record. Okay, so I did some terrible timing there because I couldn't play it in time while clicking on this. So you'll see that if I replay this part, it's definitely out of time. So I'm going to double click on this. Okay, so we can have a look at our notes here. Now, these notes should be on the beat. So they should be on this part here. So this one here is a little bit too soon. And I could click on them and move them each separately, but that if you've got a lot of notes, it's going to take a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them all by clicking and dragging and choosing them all. And then over here we have this thing called time quantize. And I know that this is on quarter note beats. So I'm going to highlight quarter note. And if I click quarter note, you'll see that all these notes have just moved to be placed perfectly on beat. Now if I push play, see, I go like that. Now I think they're a little bit too perfectly on beat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them all and just drag them a little bit out so they're a bit behind the beat. Now you can have a listen and see what they sound like with the other drums. Okay, a little bit too much. I'm going to come back in a little bit. Cool. I like that sound. So that is quantizing. So let's click that off. Okay, the last thing we've got now is automation. This is dynamics. So this is really easy to do. Let's go back into Garageband. Okay, I am listening to the start of this. I think the bass sounds a bit loud at the start. So what I want to do is have the bass fading in. And I want it to slowly get louder and louder. So if I click A on my keyboard, this will bring up automation mode. I'm going to get rid of this library at the moment, and I'm going to get rid of this editor mode. And if you look really carefully, there's a little gray line that goes across here. This is the volume. So if I click at the start of it will go yellow. And this means that automation mode is engaged. So if I follow over, and what I want to do is that by the time the drums come in here, I want this to be the loudest part of the bass. So the bass is going to be back to the loudest. And what I want to do here is drag the start down so that the volume at the start of the song, so if I drag the cursor over, you'll see that the volume here will go up automatically by itself. This is what it sounds like. Okay, so now the keys sound a bit intense by themselves. So I'm going to do the same with the keys, but I'm going to make them come to full volume. I want them to fade in a little bit sooner. I reckon it's a nicer start to the song. Okay, and I might actually just do the ending exactly the same so that the song actually fades out. Okay, I've done something's happened to the drum beat here. Let's have a look. It's gone out of time. And it's because I've chopped it at the start there. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to copy this now. So what I've done here is I've actually holding down, or I can go copy and I can go paste. And what's happened is that because I've got it looping and I chopped off the front of that, it's actually it's made that the rest of the loop be shorter and it's gone out of time. So what I can do is drag this back to look like this, and make sure that the start of the loop is right at the start of the song. Okay, and so I don't have this problem anymore. I can just keep looping it, or if I wanted to, I could go copy and paste. The annoying thing is that it doesn't paste right next to it. I think that's because the cursor was away over here. So if I go over here, I can go paste, and it should paste right there, which is cool. The other way I can do it is if I hold down the Option key and then click on the region and then drag it over, and that's the fastest way, I think, to copy and paste different sections. So I'll show you how to do it here. So I've got my after party, and I want this to go all the way through. So I'm going to hold down Option, and then just click it and drag. And you can actually click two of them and copy two of them. And that's pretty cool. Okay, now I want to fade out everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down, and I'm going to fade down, I'm going to fade down everything so that the song fades out at the same time. So it should sound a little bit like this. Might drag that bit a bit. Cool. All right. So let's push A again to get out of automation mode. So I'll go back into my track. So I'm going to click on automation here, and that's everything that your project must include. So that's done at the most basic level, and I think that sounds pretty cool. So I want to save this and I want to share it with someone, right? So the best way to do this is to come up to share, and I'm going to go export song to disk. And when I click on that, it's going to give you some options on how to save it. So a good rule is to probably just save it onto the desktop of your computer. And I am going to click on MP3. MP3 can get read by most machines. And the quality, I might just put up to the highest quality so it sounds the best. Okay, you can have a choice to name it. This one here is just giving me a time and date, which is cool. I might call it Project 1, and I'm going to go export. And what it does is you'll see there, it's just gone through the whole song very fast and exported it. And now if I go onto my desktop, I can see that I've got my project here, Project 1, if I push the spacebar. Now I could email this to someone, or I could put it on my phone, and yeah, that's basically how to create your track. Cool. So hopefully that was helpful for everyone, and yeah, use this as a resource, but don't copy exactly what I have to do. You know, make your own song and make your own banger. Cheers.